everybody, welcome to Frannie's Hair. One of the most difficult things to do is to choose a wig color, especially online. So I decided that I'm going to start talking about color, how to choose your colors, and how to understand color names and color numbers, and what do these things mean. So today we're going to start with Ellen Wille, and I'm going to go through their philosophy of color and how to choose a color that will fit you. Okay, so before I get started, I just want to tell you that there are many sales happening over at frannieshair.com right now. Head on over and check them out. Tress Allure is having a 40% off sale on their lace front monotop wigs. You never see that 40% off number on a new wig, so check those out. And then we have many other brands on sale, and our open box items are also on sale right now, so check those out for some really good deals. Alright, so let's get started with color. Today we're going to be talking about Ellen Wille color, which is, I think, one of the most complex color schemes that you can find out there in the different brands. A lot of brands, when they have a color name, it's a specific color. With Ellen Wille, you really can't go by the name. You have to go more by the numbers, and I'm going to show you how to do that. Now this is going to be a reference video. You're not going to remember everything I tell you in this video, but when you are going to look for an Ellen Wille wig, you may want to come back to this video and just take a look at what all the different terms mean so that when you're choosing a color, you understand what you're choosing. Also, I believe learning about this color philosophy will help you with other brands as well, because there are certain industry standards having to do with color numbers and the colors that those numbers represent. Now the brands may differ slightly on how they apply the colors and how those colors look. A dark brown might be a little darker in one brand than in another brand, but in general you'll have an idea of what the numbers mean. And I'm going to be showing you charts and the website throughout this video so that you know how to use our color charts at frannieshair.com. We just recently added the Ellen Wille color chart, and the reason that that one took so long is because it is the most complex color system. And I think the reason that it's so complex is that they really take the style of the wig into account when they apply the color to the wig. Okay, so before we start, let me just tell you what I'm wearing. I'm wearing Leah 2 in Candy Blonde Rooted. And as you know, Leah 2 is one of my favorite styles, a blunt razor cut bob. Just adorable, easy, throw on and go. We're going to be using this wig to demonstrate the Ellen Wille color system. I'm just going to show you the tag at first, and then we're going to talk about the system. So here's the tag, and you can see, hopefully, that it's Candy Blonde Rooted, and it's a combination of 3 numbers, 101, 27, and 60. Now I'm not going to tell you what all that means right now. We're going to come back to it after I describe the system to you. Ellen Wille. First and foremost, let me just say this. Ellen Wille color names, they're not meaningless, but as my rep described it, they're a ballpark thing to give you an idea of the color. You can have the same color name on 2 different wigs and it can look different, which is very confusing. So what I want to say to you is when you're looking at Ellen Wille color, the most important thing is the numbers as far as the different colors you're going to see in the wig. All right, so 3 components to Ellen Wille's color system. The first is color breakdown. And color breakdown are the 3 numbers that you saw on this tag, which is the 101, the 27, and the 60. That's telling you which colors are blended in the wig to create the color that you're seeing. Now I'm going to show you that 2 wigs with the same name don't necessarily have the same color breakdown. Okay, so I have 2 wigs here, both with the color Espresso Mix as the name. So this is Alive Mono Part in Espresso Mix. And hopefully you can see the tag there. I don't know how to show you. But it's a 4, a 2, and a 6. Then I have Espresso Mix in Daily, here, hopefully you can see that, is a 4 and a 2. So you can see already, just by the numbers, these two colors are not going to be the same. I'm going to show you the color chart briefly here, just so you get an idea of what the color numbers mean. And you can find this color chart on our website, frannieshair.com. So, black is going to be a 1 to a 1B. That's black to a soft black. Brown, 2 to 12. The lower the number, the darker the brown. So your 12 is going to be your lightest brown. Your blondes are 14 to 25, starting with your dark ash blonde and going to a light golden blonde. So the lower the number, the darker, more ash blonde. Your reds, 26 to 33 and 130 to 133. So you're going to start out with a medium golden blonde with a little bit of red in it, all the way up to your 130 to 133 is usually more your fashion colors, a red violet, which would be a fashion color. Then you have your grays to whites. Starting at 36 is going to be more of a gray, and as you go up to 60 and 61, it's going to be more of a white. And then your platinums, 101 to 1001, pearl platinum, and winter white. So those are your basic industry standard colors in wigs. Okay, so now let's take a look at our 2 espresso mix wigs. So this one is daily, and this is just a 4-2. I don't know if you're going to be able to see the difference here. And this one is your alive monopart, which is a 4-2-6. So let's see if you can tell. So a 6 is going to be a lighter brown than the 4 and 2. They both have the 4 and 2, but this one has some 6 in it, some lighter browns. I think you can see them in there as I get closer. Whereas this one does not have that lighter brown. Yet, they're both called espresso mix. Okay, so you're starting to see now how the color numbers are more important than the name, because these both have the same name. Okay, so now that we have an idea of what color breakdown means, let's look at the color breakdown of this wig in Candy Blonde Rooted. If we look at the tag, you'll see there that there's 3 numbers, 101, 27, and 60. 101 is our pearl platinum, which you can see in here. The 27 is your reddish blonde, and the 60 is almost a white. So before taking a deep dive into the color system at Ellen Wille, I always thought that when you looked at the colors on your tag here, that the color that was listed first would be the color that you had the most of in your wig. That's not necessarily true. The second component of the Ellen Wille color system is color distribution. And color distribution is not only how much of each color is in your wig, but also the application of it, how it's placed on your wig to accentuate the style. So there are 5 different color distributions that Ellen Wille uses. The first one is called a mix. Now a mix, like the 2 espresso mixes I just showed you, means that the colors are evenly distributed throughout the wig. So you don't have more of one color than the other. The next type of distribution is called rooted or shaded. Now this is Candy Blonde Rooted. And what rooted or shaded, you can use either of those terms interchangeably. What that means is that you still have a mix, an even distribution of your colors, but you have a darker rooting that is not only at the top and crown, but it's carried throughout the wig. So you'll see that dark rooting coming through the entirety of the wig there, which gives it more dimension and mimics natural regrowth. The next type of distribution is called lighted. And what lighted means is you still have a mixed color, so it's still even distribution, but you have a concentration of light highlighting around your face. And I'm going to show you that in one of my own wigs from my closet. This is an oldie but goodie. This is Sunset. If you guys have been with me for a while, you know this was my go-to wig. And this Sunset is in the color Tobacco Lighted. So you can see here that it's darker but you do have that highlighting around the face. Okay, the next two distributions, I don't actually have an example of a wig here, so I'm going to put pictures up for you if I can find them. The first one is called tipped, and that's lighter tipped ends, and they say it's similar to an ombre effect. So it's a darker color, but then your ends are tipped in a lighted color. And the last one is called toned, a root applied only to the top and crown area. So it's different than the rooted or shaded in that the rooted or shaded comes down throughout the wig, whereas a toned wig will just have that rooting at the crown and at the top. Okay, so those are the first two components. You have your color breakdown. Those are the colors that are in your wig. You have the color distribution. That's how the color is applied to your wig. And then the last component is called color variation. And that comes in three different types. There's dark, light, and hot. And basically what that means is one of the colors in the color breakdown is used predominantly to give you an effect. So dark, for example, the darkest color will be used predominantly to give the look of low lights. In light, it's just the opposite. Your lightest color will be used predominantly to give you the illusion of highlights. And then in hot, your warmest color will be used predominantly to give it a really warm or hot look. And that's typically in your reds and auburns, since reds and auburns are very warm colors. So I'm going to show you an example of two wigs here to just demonstrate one of those color variations, the light. So in this first wig, we have a wig in the color Champagne Rooted. Okay, and this is Ruby, and you can look at her color breakdown here, which is 22, 25, 16. And you can see she's rooted, so she has the darker root that carries throughout the wig, and you can see how dark she is. Then we have light Champagne Rooted in this wig, which is Bloom, and her color breakdown is 23, 25, 22. I don't know if you can see that there. But if we look at her, she's much lighter. Because she's a light Champagne Rooted, the lightest color is the color that was used predominantly. So you can see the difference there. Okay, so that's the basics of the Ellen Wille color system. Three main components: color breakdown, that's the colors in your wig; color distribution, that's how the colors are applied to your wig; and then variations on those colors, which are basically low lights, highlights, and warmth. So hopefully that all makes sense. Now, how can you use this to choose a wig that you're looking for? Well, we know that color is the most difficult thing to choose, and we're working really hard to give you as much information as we can. So if you've been to our color charts at frannieshair.com, you probably know by now that you can go to a color chart of a brand, and once you choose a color you like, you can click on it and it'll show you all the wigs that come in that color. That's really helpful once you find a color that you really like. Now, as I said before, this whole video on Ellen Wille color philosophy can be used to also transfer to other brands because there are industry standard colors, and I showed you that chart in the beginning. So across the board, your 2s to 12s are going to be browns. Now, a dark brown in Aesthetica may not be the same as the dark brown in Ellen Wille, but at least you're in the ballpark. So say you like an Aesthetica wig in R8 26H. Well, that's a medium brown, your 8, and the 26 is a blonde, and it's a highlight. It has an H. So now you're looking for a medium brown with a blonde highlight. So when you go to the Ellen Wille color chart, which I'm going to show you in a minute because it's a little bit different than the other color charts, you're going to be looking at least for those numbers in your color breakdown because you already understand, oh, the 8's a medium brown. Let me see if there's an 8 over here. And then I have the 26, and that's a blonde, and it's a highlighting. So let me look for that 26 over here. So that'll at least get you in the ballpark. All right, now let's go take a look at the color chart, and I'm going to show you how to use it because, as I said, it's a little bit different. Okay, so as we discussed with Ellen Wille, you can't use the color name as your guide because color names can consist of different color breakdowns, so you're really going to want to go by the numbers. In other brands, they're fairly consistent with their color names and the look that you get with that color name. So the way you're going to use the Ellen Wille color chart is like this. First, you go to frannieshair.com and you're going to click on colors. Now, you're going to choose the new Ellen Wille color chart, and you're going to see at the top here that there are categories: blonde, brunette, gray, platinum, black, or red. So you're going to want to choose the category that you're looking for. And most people know what category they're looking for. By the way, under that is all of your Ellen Wille color philosophy components, all that stuff that I just showed you, you're going to see here, so you can review that for yourself. But let's say we're looking for a blonde. So we're going to click on blonde, and what you're going to see here is the swatches of all the different blondes. So you'll see at the top is the color breakdown. You have a 14-12, a 14-16, 14-16-12, and so on. At the bottom of the swatch, you're going to see different color names that could be associated with that breakdown. Dark sand rooted, sand mixed, sand multi-rooted, all with the same color breakdown. Now, you can't say, oh, well, I want sand mix because I liked my other sand mix, because you can see here sand mix is 14-16-12, but you also see it over here as 14-16-14. So what you're going to want to do is go by the color breakdown. So let's say we want a 14-16-12, and we click on that swatch, and that's going to bring up all the wigs that have that color breakdown. So let's just choose United here. We'll take a look at this, for example. Well, when you go up here, all you see is color names: pastel blonde mix, espresso rooted. How do I know which one is 14-16-12? Well, if you look below the picture, the stock photo here, or whichever picture is up, you'll see the name of the wig, the color name, and the color breakdown. So what I can do is I can scroll through all of the colors, and I'll probably jump to a blonde because, let's face it, I'm looking for a blonde. And when I get to sand rooted, I see here that it's 14-16-12. That's the color I'm looking for. So in this wig, United, it's called sand rooted. Now if we go back to the other wigs, now let's take a look at tulle. So I'm going to go down my colors here until I see the 14-16-12, and there it is. So in tulle, the 14-16-12 is called dark sand rooted. So what do I know about this? Just by the name and the color breakdown. The name is going to tell me about the distribution and the variation. So it's a dark, so I know it's going to have predominantly the darker color in it, and it's rooted, so I know that it's going to have roots that carry throughout the wig. And then I know the breakdown from the colors. So in essence, you will use the names to understand the distribution and the variation, but when you want to know what colors are in your wig, you can't go by the name. You have to go by the color breakdown. Okay, so I hope that was helpful to you. As always, if you have any questions at all, put them in the comments below. You can come over to our private Facebook group, Frannie's Hair, where we have our group experts there to help you. I'll be there to help you. You can put questions up. We have people posting pictures of themselves in wigs, so you get to see the different wigs and different colors on just regular people, not stock photos, which sometimes can be misleading, as we know. And then, of course, come over to frannieshair.com. And if you have a question there, you can go to the contact tab and just type your question in, and we'll get back to you as quickly as we can. As always, thank you so much for joining me. I truly appreciate it. Remember to make it your own, and I'll see you soon.